Hey, as we're sitting here, first, hi, I'm Rob. And as we're all sitting here on Labor Day weekend, and our wonderful president has brought forth the idea that we can fill our 401ks with fantasy ideas like gold and silver, which is just going to allow private equity and the investor class to steal more of your money out of your paycheck. My thought is, well, why don't we have anything relative to pensions? The reason why pensions fail is because the federal government requires companies to leverage or account for the pension for a long time. So, for example, even though you can put your money in a 401k today, the idea is that you can lose all your money in the 401k. You accept that by virtue of putting your money in the 401k. But an employer doesn't work that way with a pension. That's why firemen, firewomen, police officers, policewomen, most state governments, unions, most unions in the country today are in fact government unions, right? So they all get pensions plus Social Security, right? And so I would just say, hey, Trump, if you really want to do something to help the people, why not reduce the liquidity requirements for pensions? There's got to be a good arena for that, whether it's 5 years or 10 years. But realistically, it doesn't matter. Companies that had pensions and promised people those pensions. I mean, Kodak is a perfect example where I live. They're getting ready to sell what's remaining of their pension obligations to the people who actually made them a great company, right? And what are they going to sell those obligations to do? Pay more salaries and keep the company open for a couple more months, even though the company's failing. And so the government's position on pensions for small business, the only thing I can offer my employees or any other small business can offer their employees is a simplified employee pension plan, which is backed by an insurance company. So the government could do something really well for small businesses who want to provide some guarantees, right? Because that's how the world of America worked really well for the first 100 years. Employers invested into their employees. So as you sit here this Labor Day weekend, enjoying your days off, and you go crazy every time your 401k goes up or down because the political leaders in this country just, they go and they foment laws to help their investment accounts, but they don't do anything to help our investment accounts. But I think, Rob thinks, the one thing that would be great from a federal position is that the government reduces by a substantial margin, by at least 75%. Maybe you only have to carry the pension for 3 years in the future, right? Because when you got to carry a pension for longer than that, what it does is it takes away from operating income, right? And so employers are going to be less likely to offer a true retirement package. But you could do a 3 or 5 year lookout. That could easily be done. And then when employees like you contribute to your own pension, if you so choose, you don't have to, but if you do, you don't have to worry about losing any of your money. And also the other thing is, if you lose your job or your employer goes out of business, well, your 401k can be rolled over into a self-managing portfolio. But generally when an employer has a pension, goes out of business, the pension funds are separate and there's some type of delegation. And I think that's another thing, that if the business has gone out of business, then the pension liabilities relative to that business, there should just be a buyout. And then there should be taxation on the buyout, right? Just like if you pull money out of your 401k prematurely, there's taxation on it. But again, one more thing here that Rob has a real fucking problem with. We got two systems. And one system is for all of us peons who we get access to 401ks that, we can contribute our own money to, and our employers, if they so choose, can give us a little bit. But then governments in all 50 states, including some of the reddest states in this country, have some of the most powerful unions and give their employees some of the most richest benefits People are making $8,000 or $9,000 a month when they're 65 plus their Social Security check, while you're struggling and we're looking for the cost of living adjustments. So as we sit here on Labor Day weekend, Rob thinks it's time to revisit pensions and give employees of America another option to invest in themselves. It can't just be, let me put my money in a 401k and I can go in mutual funds and everyone can make my money disappear. Enough of that. Let's have some real discussions on putting back some policies in place that help pension flourish here in America. I'm Rob. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. I might be back. I might not. I don't know. But bye for now.